It's fairly impressive in Magic if you can find a spectator selected card. It's quite impressive in Magic if you can find 2 of the spectator selected cards. But being able to find 4 cards selected by 4 spectators, that's insane. I have trouble just remembering 4 cards. But don't worry, I have a simple trick to help you pull off the insane and drive people wild. Alright, yo, so check this out for those of you who are curious. Today we're going to be using the David Blaine Gatorback Metallic Red playing cards because they look super nice. It's like, look at that shine. I love it so much. But for this trick, we're going to do something unusual, something we usually don't see. I'm going to hand the deck over to the spectator. Maybe we'll give it a quick shuffle first. That's fine if cards fall out. I hand this deck over to the spectator, and I want them to make 4 piles. So we'll make 1, 2, 3, 4 piles like this. You can put 1 card on each of the piles. You can put 2 cards. You can put 3 cards. As long as you're putting cards and they're approximately the same size, we want to do like an even distribution of cards. If you want to reverse the order, you can do that as well. And in a second, we're actually going to have 4 spectators select 4 cards. So we have 4 piles. They're approximately even size, maybe not really, but close enough. So spectator number 1, they're going to select a card from the top of this pile here. That's going to be their selected card. Put that right back. Spectator number 2 is going to select this card right here. That's going to be their card. Take a look at it, memorize it. Spectator number 3, that's going to be their card right here. Spectator number 4, that is going to be their card. So one more time, just so you can see all the cards together. Those are the 4 selected cards. And I'll put them on the screen as well so you don't have to actually memorize them. Okay, now the spectators can pick up the decks in any orders that they want and put them all together. So let's say this packet goes here, this packet goes here, this packet goes here like this, and we'll even give the deck one final cut. And you know what else we can do? We can even give the deck a bit of a shuffle. So if you wanna, I love doing Pharaoh shuffles, so boom, check that out. That always makes me feel very happy. So we've given the deck a bit of a shuffle, and now we wanna try to locate all 4 cards. Of course, the chance of getting just 1 card at picking it at random would be 1 in 52, which is quite unlikely. Picking 2 cards would be over 1 in 2,500. Picking 3 cards would be even more insane, 1 in, I guess, 125,000, and so on and so on. It would be wild to be able to pick all these cards. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try this. So spectator number 1, I want you to think of your card, and I'm gonna try to focus in on it as much as I can. Okay, I want to say it's around this area on this half. I'm gonna zoom in. Spectator number 1's card. I think this was your selected card, right? Queen of Diamonds. Now that's fairly impressive. Like I said, 1 in 52 shot. Let's try this out one more time. Here we go. Spectator number 2, I think the card that you selected, also probably on this half actually, fairly close to the queen. I want to say it was a king. Your card selected was the King of Diamonds. All right, so now we're 2 for 2. We're doing pretty well. Okay, card number 3, and I'm doing my best to get this in order because it's definitely not too easy. Card number 3, I think. Let's say we're done with this half. The chances are it's not going to be in this half, and I get the feeling that as I took these cards off the table, I saw your expression. It's not in that half. Let's see. Card number 3. Card number 3. Card number 3. I think the 3rd selected card was this card right here, the 4 of Hearts. And now the last card is probably one of the most difficult ones to get because, again, the chances of me selecting this at random is astronomically low. So again, I need your help. Think of your card, do your best, and say the card was this card right here, the 6 of Hearts. And those are all 4 of your selected cards. Boom. What up, crew? It is Magic Monday, and this is your place to learn Magic, master performance, and captivate audiences. If you're joining me for the first time, hey there. To give you some background on this effect, it's known as the 4 packs by John Scarn, and it relies on a very, very basic principle that I'm sure a lot of people are aware of, but we're going to be taking it to the next level. So before we dive right into the tutorial, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, grab your favorite deck of playing cards, and now, let's do it. Alright, yo, so welcome to the tutorial. Now, before I break this down for you, I do want to let you know I'm going to teach you more of the simple method to do it, which requires a bit of a setup, but I'll give some tips at the end for more of you advanced people who don't want to actually do a setup for this trick. One thing that you need to do for this setup, and of course one of the key principles of this card trick, is using a key card. But we're not going to use just 1 key card, we're going to use 4 key cards. And for those of you who don't know what a key card is, it kind of just helps indicate where a spectator selected card is. So for example, if our key card was the Ace of Diamonds, and we have a spectator select a card, let's say this one, 3 of Hearts, they leave it on top here, and we give the deck a cut. If we just look for our Ace of Diamonds, we'll know the card next to it is the 3 of Hearts. So that's how a key card works. For this card trick, we're going to use 4 key cards. You can use whichever ones you like, but just to kind of keep the spectator on their toes so they don't catch on to any patterns, I like to use the Jack of Spades, Queen of Spades, King of Spades, and the Ace of Spades. I take all 4 of these cards, and again, you want to use key cards that you can memorize because you will need to memorize these cards. Put them on top of the deck. Once they're on top of the deck, you're ready to begin. To start this card trick, you take the cards out of the tuck case and you want to give the deck a false shuffle or false cut. And the ultimate goal is to maintain these top 4 cards. And you could do that simply just by giving the deck a shuffle, like an overhand shuffle like this, throwing over a packet of cards, doing an in jog where you push over one or a couple of cards and you shuffle the rest on top. Your in jog card is still sticking out, so all you're going to do is push down and forward on this card. Then you throw over the rest of the cards until you get to this giant break that you have. Toss over the rest and you have the 4 cards still on top of the deck. If you're not super comfortable doing that, one of my favorite false cuts to do is look something like this, where the 4 cards are maintained on top, something I really love doing all the time. All you have to do for that is you're holding the deck in a biddle grip, thumb on bottom, ring finger, middle finger on top. Index finger breaks off about a third of the deck, swings it over to the other hand like this. Then you break off half the deck, same way you did. Swing it over to the other hand. Grab a pinky break between these 2 packets. Take this last packet, put it down, put this down, put that down, and you'll see the 4 cards are still there. Magic! So once you've given the deck a false shuffle or a false cut, you hand the deck over to the spectator and ask them to deal the cards out into 4 piles. So they start dealing 1, 2, 3, 4. This pretty much lays the foundation for all your key cards, and the spectator selected cards will come right after. As they're dealing these cards out, you can tell them if they want to deal 2 cards, if they want to deal 3 cards, if they want to deal 4 cards, if they want to reverse the order of the cards they're dealing, put that down. Whatever they'd like to do, they can do it. But the thing is, you just have to ensure that the first 4 cards are dealt first, okay? So we've dealt out those 4 piles. I'm going to leave them like this so it's easier for me to access the cards. And the top card of each of these piles will be the spectator selected card. Ideally, you want to do this card trick for 4 people. I would say 2 people at the very least, because for one person, like even I was saying in the beginning, it's hard for one person to memorize all 4 playing cards. So the cards that we have are 5 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, and 5 of clubs. If you want to know in order what the spectator has, then you have to memorize the order of your key cards, which I guess would be a bit difficult to do, so I probably wouldn't say get them in order. But as long as you find the 4 cards, you should be fine. So again, we have 3 diamonds, 5 diamonds, 9 of diamonds, and 5 of clubs. You don't actually know that as a performer, but I'll put them on your screen so you can verify that I'm doing this correctly at the end. We have all this done. Now you tell the spectator to put up the cards together in any order that they want. So if you want to do it this way, if they want to do it this way, if you want to do it this way, if they want to do it this way, whatever they want to do, as long as the deck is put back together, we're completely fine. The thing now is, once this is done, one of the spectator selected cards will be on top, and one of your key cards will be on the bottom. What I like to do is ask them to give the deck one more cut, and then I can show them the deck like this and tell them that all their cards are lost somewhere in the center of the deck. And like I mentioned in the beginning, what's great about a key card is you're going to find the spectator selected card right next to it, or right in front of it in our case. So for example, we have the Jack of Spades as one of our key cards. Right in front of it, we have the 9 of diamonds. We know that's spectator selected card. Same thing, Ace of Spades, 5 of clubs. We have the King of Spades, 5 of diamonds. And we have the Queen of Spades, 3 of diamonds. All the cards are right next to your key cards. I like to take it one step further and give the deck a Pharaoh shuffle. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with a Pharaoh shuffle, it's when cards are interleaved one into each other, or right into each other, looking something like this, where the cards go right into each other like this, one into another from each of the piles. And I like to shuffle the cards together like this so that it looks like a legitimate shuffle versus just doing a cut. Okay, and now if you show the cards, there's going to be one arbitrary card between your key card and the spectator selected card. So let's take a look at an example. For example, now ideally we don't like a situation like this where your 2 key cards are put together, but it still works. For example, there is your King of Spades. You view that as one key card, and 2 cards away, that's one of the selected cards. So you immediately know 5 of diamonds. Same thing for Jack of Spades. The only thing you have to keep in mind, Jack of Spades, 2 cards away, is 9 of diamonds. So both of these 2 cards are the cards that the spectator selected. You can take those out. I'll talk a bit more about performance in a second. Then you're taking a look for your other card, Ace of Spades. Again, 2 cards away, we have 5 of clubs. And the last card, Queen of Spades, 2 cards away, we have 3 of diamonds. So we were able to find all 4 of the spectator's selected cards, just like that. Let me set this deck back up and show you something. Because if you just present it that way, people are going to find it very boring. You want to really sell this effect. So I would take one of 2 approaches. One would be what I did in my performance, where I'm spreading the cards out, asking one of the spectators to think of their cards, and then I'm kind of zooming in to what feeling I'm getting towards the cards. So for example, as you saw, like I'm zoning in this area, you look for your key card right here, King of Diamonds. Right next to it, we have the 9 of Diamonds. And of course, this is when the cards are not paired together, but I'm just doing it this way just to show you a base case. So there you have the 9 of Diamonds, and you can do this for the whole thing. What makes this a bit more fun, I would think, is when you're doing it with the deck face down. So you're going to keep dealing cards. Well, of course, the ace ended up being there. Let's give that a cut. So when you keep dealing cards, you wait to find your key card, right? So I'm keep dealing. Where's my key card? And then as you feel like you're going to get close, you see your key card, you feel like, okay, maybe I have a feeling the next card, I'm being drawn to it, that might be your card. So maybe you want to put that over to the side. If you want to reveal it, you can do that as well. Then you go ahead and find your next card. Where's the next? What's going on? Okay, the next card. And you can, okay, I think this may be your card. If you keep going, let me just go through this real quick. Oops, didn't want to flip that over. I think we're missing the queen. What are we missing? There it is. And I think that's the last card, right? And then you can ask the spectator, did you see your card as we were flipping through? They're obviously going to say no. And then you can reveal, boom, all the selected cards have been here the entire time. So this trick is going to heavily depend on how you're selling this effect rather than just doing it, because that would kind of make it seem a bit boring. And now the last thing that I wanted to cover is how I would go about doing this for an advanced setup. For an advanced setup, once I grab the deck, usually I'm using a borrowed deck or I'm doing this impromptu. When I'm looking through the cards and I want to set up those 4 key cards, I generally don't always select the 4, court spades. You can pick whatever is most convenient for you. But if I was to do the 4 court spades, I would start doing the Roadrunner Cull, which looks something like this. So as I'm going through the deck, I run into one card, the Queen of Spades. I'm going to cull that card to the back like this, making sure not to expose it down here or up here. Cull that card to the back. Then I look for my next one, and I kind of want to keep this a bit messy. This way, when I do the cull, it's a bit easier. So we get to the King of Spades, I cull that to the back. You probably didn't see that one happen. Again, Ace of Spades, you call that to the back. I keep it a bit messy. Jack of Spades, call that to the back. I think that's it, right? Then when you square everything up, you're going to move this packet of 4 cards to the back of the deck, and you'll see we have our 4 cards set up just like this. It does require a decent amount of practice, but it's so worth it because you can use it for so many different setups, so many different tricks, and it works beautifully. If you want to have some more fun with card magic, click on this video right over here because that's exactly what you're going to get. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. Love you guys. Have a great day ahead, and I'll see you in the next video. Deck drop.